Hey guys, Quantum Light here. So I'm noticing that Dark Hole is not being used as much nowadays. I'm seeing that it's being cited, or just not as mained as much, or just gone completely from the main decks. If you take a look at YCS Philly, regionals, the last couple tournaments, and you see the deck profiles of them on many of the other YouTubers' channels, you notice that Dark Hole is like almost really not there. It's gone. It's either just, like I said, it's cited, not mained. Very few have still mained it, but it's just overall gone. Kind of brings up the question as to why is it not being used as much anymore. Well, see, here's how I see it. Take a look at it this way. You got a whole field set up, and your opponent's got their field set up as well, and you happen to draw into it. Like, what do? I mean, yeah, it's a good card that could come in handy, like later on in the duel. But what you need is you need to win now. You need something that could have you win the duel as soon as possible. Or let's say that your field is empty, so therefore you don't have to worry about your monsters getting hit, but your opponent has a field. They have a field of monsters, maybe not as full, but halfway, but they got something that could be a threat to you. So you activate Dark Hole, and then what do? But the bigger question here is, what can your opponent do? Judging from personal experience, and because I'm a rogue player, once you activate Dark Hole, that's like me saying, like, I'm activating this, I'm winning this duel now. But sometimes it's, never usually the case. See, when I activate Dark Hole and I don't win the duel right then and there, then I'm giving my opponent one whole turn to recover from, losing their field. Because, once you lose your field nowadays, I'm starting to see that it's no big deal. It's your back row that's an even bigger deal. When you clear your opponent's field and you're not done with them yet, like, you better make sure you got everything set up for yourself. Make sure you recover, or at least have an even bigger advantage over them from whatever they could come up with once it's their turn again. So they have the rest of your turn for them to figure out how to counter. And if you got nothing, then it's GG, bro. Here's why. You activate Dark Hole, field is gone, you're not done with them yet, no problem. Whatever they can draw next could pretty much help them bounce back. So basically, like, you're letting them have another turn where they could draw, bounce back. I'll admit there's some decks where I'm not using Dark Hole, but there are others that I am, because, and I say this for almost every deck that I review, for every card I review as well, it's not a bad card, it's just slow. From personal experience, let's go for another example. Let's take a look at Ghost Tricks. Like, that right there can swarm the field quickly, and you draw into Dark Hole, like, and that kind of brings up the point that I made a little earlier. Like, you got a field full of monsters, and you need to win the duel right then and there. You draw Dark Hole. There's nothing you can do about it because you don't want to get rid of your own monsters too. But it goes without saying that Ghost Tricks revolve around, direct attacks, and you can easily counter that too. But that's why Ghost Trick Mansion and Ghost Trick Parade was created. Now, Torrential Tribute, on the other hand, like, that's a completely different story. It works the same way as Dark Hole, but it's a little similar, but yet different. I mean, the obvious difference here is that one's a spell, the other one's a trap, but that's beside the point. Going back to my earlier point here, remember when I just said right now that you activate Dark Hole, and you're allowing your opponent to have the rest of your turn should you not defeat them right then and there. You're giving them the whole turn, draw phase included, to bounce back. So yeah, that thing is pretty possible. But with Torrential, on the other hand, that's a different story because, that's disrupting a play. That's why it's good as a trap, because you're activating it during your opponent's turn. Like Dark Hole, you activate during your turn. So, again, if it's not game for you, then it's game for them. But in the case of Torrential Tributes, you just disrupt everything. Imagine if you're facing your opponent's gadgets and they summon either whichever one of the street light gadgets. They search for one, and they chain Kage to Kage with it. And as well as the fact that once they overlay, they do this shit. But also keep in mind that once they use up a little bit of their hand to bring out Fortress, you activate Torrential maybe before Fortress is out. Like, what else can they do? Because you just disrupt everything. Like, the strategy they were going for is the same way, like, working... It's the same with, like, working Breakthrough Skill. Breakthrough Skill already has that advantage over Fiendish Chain, but that's a video for another day. In fact, I'm pretty sure somebody has already covered that topic. The reason for that is because I'm seeing Torrential being used a whole lot more than Dark Hole. And besides, running the two is pretty redundant. Now, I know what you're thinking, like, why bother running these two cards, Quantum Light, if you're running Exciton as well? Like, well, see, here's the thing. Exciton, that takes work to bring out. Like, yeah, bringing out 2 level 4s is no big deal, but still, like, that's using up a little bit more resources. That right there is just one card. You can just set it and just wait for your opponent to, for you to screw over. Also, keep in mind, the Wiretap, Dark Bribe, if anyone still uses it, as well as Trap Stun before it can be, yeah, those are just 3 cards that can put a stop to that. At the way things are going for Dark Hole, I'm pretty sure that if this thing got hit to 2, or if it was banned, or it was back to 3, I really don't know how or why that would happen, or if it ever went to 2 for that matter while I'm at it, no one's gonna care. It's like Magician of Faith one more time. Like, it's, no one cares. Like I said earlier, the fact that barely anyone's using it nowadays is proof enough. At the way I see it, I'm starting to think that maybe Dark Hole is becoming one of those cards where you have it until you can get, a better replacement for it. It's become the poor man's Yu-Gi-Oh card of something. I don't know, Torrential's pretty cheap, so it doesn't matter. If you're running either one of the two, that's fine, but it's a little redundant kinda sometimes, but it doesn't matter which one you're running. Like if you run one, both, suit yourself, because while field clearing is not a big deal now, because we gotta worry more about back row, it's still pretty good to have, just in case. That's what makes them special. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Lights out.